You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Ray Donovan After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Ray Donovan After Show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Bing is for doing, and we're here doing the AFTERBUZZ TV After Show for Showtime's Ray Donovan. I'm Kennelia, and today we're going to be recapping Episode 7 of Season 1, titled New Birthday. Like I just said, I'm Kennelia, and I'm joined by two fabulous hosts. Guys, introduce yourselves.
I'm Anna Koppel.
And I'm Sean Overman.
And I just want to say welcome back, Anna. We missed you.
Thanks, I missed you too. I was thinking of you the whole time.
Oh. So let's get right into it, because I was saying off camera, this episode kind of jumped the season from 5 to 10. Like, it seems like it just took the next step, the super step into intensity.
Yeah, let's remember last week they were decorating a house.
Yeah.
I mean that took up a lot of the episode. So definitely a huge jump in action.
They're going into a really good direction now.
Yeah.
So finally they have like somebody who really wants to take care of Mickey. They've been talking about Sully the whole time. They've been alluding to him. We get to meet him finally, and it's like set. He's gonna do it.
Mm-hmm. So we start out the episode just piggybacking off of that, Sean. Ray is packing his bags to go to Boston. Abby doesn't know until she sees Ray preparing for the trip. She's upset, and she said something that was really interesting, and it was like a flash, like a light bulb flash when she said this. She said, "Ray, you won't even let me go back and take the kids." So this whole time they've been living in Calabasas. Why did Abby think that they weren't allowed to go back? Like, did she never ask any questions? Or I wonder what she thinks is the reason. Like, does she just think that Ray hates it? Or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm starting to get this idea that Abby is in the dark about everything. And maybe it's because I don't know. It's just something, when she said that, I was like, well, wait, so you can't go back either?
Abby can't be that in the dark. She can't be. To say, like, she moves out with him, and for 20 years to not go back to visit your parents, for your kids to not see where you grew up, for the kids not to go to visit the grandparents, she has to know.
I don't feel like she knows everything.
I don't either.
I feel like she knows seriously 1%. You know, like right now she's starting to know more and more. She's up to maybe like the 50% mark of stuff that's going on because she's seen all the evidence. But all these years, she's probably had to rear the kids. She's had to take care of them all this time. Now they're teenagers. They're starting to become more independent. They're doing their own things. We got Connor playing video games. Bridget's off playing house with Marvin Gaye Washington.
Oh my God.
And now she's having time to analyze and say, what's Ray really doing? She's been content with being a housewife, going out and buying all of her nice stuff, her shoes, her dresses, whatever, and having a beautiful house. You know, she has to upkeep all that. Now she's finally seeing stuff come to the surface, and she's asking questions, and so are the kids, and that's what's making her ask questions, I feel.
Just now, though? Well, the kids are asking questions. Why isn't she?
That's what's making her ask the questions. And now,
because think about it, the last 3 episodes, she has said at some point to Ray, what do you do? Or who are you? Or what's really going on?
And Ray gave an answer to his friend Gary during the episode. He said, I'm consulting now. Consulting is like the most vague thing you can say to anybody. To you know, I give advice. You know, it's like, what kind of advice do you give? What do you do? This guy's an enforcer. He beats people up and he extorts money from people.
Yeah.
I love one of the FBI informant that is on, Ray's side. Frank, thank you. Called them criminal justice terrorists.
That is silly.
And I love that.
He did. It's true. But Abby seems to just now be really seeing what Ray does. And it's so weird to me. That's so weird. You live in this house with this man, even the apartment. They've been in Calabasas for that long, and that was her first time that she ever even had access to the apartment. So where did she think he was going for the last some years?
She's just been letting him do his thing. Maybe right now he's been away more because I'm sure it's because actually that Mickey's gotten out.
True, good
so
point.
He's been so busy trying to juggle Mickey, it's doubling his load. Actually, it's even tripling his load now because he still doesn't even know that Van Miller is associated with Mickey. So he's trying to get rid of Mickey, take him out of his life, where he also has Van Miller over his shoulder investigating him.
Good point. It is like doing double work. Good point. So Ray goes to Boston, and when he gets there, he goes to a bar and meets up with the man that he paid to snitch on Mickey. The guy, he told the guy, "I want to see Sully." And then at that moment, the guy said, "Sully's dead." So
he died in Belfast.
Yeah, he died. So Ray was like, whatever, pretty much whatever. I want to see Sully, and he leaves. And then some guy who at the moment that point we didn't know who he was, stands up and says, "Hey Ray, do you remember me?" And Ray's like, "No," and walks out. He gets a call later to come back to the same bar. It was empty, and lo and behold, the big guy shows back up with a team full of goons, and they beat up Ray.
Tiny, as he's called.
Right. His name will be Tiny. It's always the big guy's name, Tiny. Ray started, he had his moment where he was, giving Tiny the good old 1-2, but Ray got his ass whooped.
He did. He had such bruised ribs. Like, you ladies gasped when you saw him in the next scene when we were watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those weren't really fair numbers, though.
Yeah.
It was, what, 3 or 4 on one?
Yeah.
That wasn't fair.
It was like 3-on-1, and then that guy who Ray paid to snitch on Mickey was just standing there watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
So after he got beat up, Ray walks out. He still doesn't remember Tiny. And then he tells the guy, "I want to see Sully." And then the guy slips up and says, "I told you Sully doesn't live here anymore."
He's not in town.
Yeah, he's not in town. So Ray turns around and says, "Hey, well, I thought you said he was dead. Tell him I want to see him."
The old slip up.
Yeah. So that to me, that just gave me a big. It was real funny to see how Sully is going through that much to stay protected, and we didn't really know why until later. Because that time I was like, well, why? Ray knows he's alive.
Yeah, they revealed that he's on the number 1 on the FBI's most wanted list, and he's still up in the post office and probably other places posted up there where everybody can see his face. He can't go out. He's probably at home watching America's Funniest Home Videos all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and that, I had a question about that also because it looks like he's living in a church.
Is that his house?
Is that where he lives?
Well, I mean, I know that in some countries, if you're in a church, it's sanctuary and
police can't go in and arrest you in there and stuff like that.
Right. And so I don't know if that's still a thing.
I don't think applies to the United States,
Boston.
but maybe he just does it because that's where they wouldn't find him. Who knows?
I don't know.
Maybe it's some like really random church in a random graveyard, like way out there. Boston's a big city.
It's not that big.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't. I was wondering, why is he randomly at this church? Did he drive there? That was confusing. But maybe he does live in some
And it happened to be right by Ray's sister's grave. That's kind of funny. I really don't. I think that it just happened to be there, and they used it as a meeting place for their particular meeting. I don't think he lived there.
But then his girlfriend or wife or whoever that lady was had the dog. You don't. If you're going to do business and meet up with your enemy's son, you don't bring your girlfriend and your pup. You know what I mean?
You don't bring a dog.
Yeah, you don't bring your family. So it kind of does seem like they.
He could live there then.
Live there.
Yeah. There's nothing that supports it, but then there's nothing against it at the same time. So very well could be.
And we probably won't see because at the end of the show, it looked like Sully was preparing to come to Los Angeles. So that was probably the only time we'll get to really look at that. So Ray finally figures out who this big guy was, who Tiny was. Ray goes to the beauty shop. It was cute that Tiny was taking his mom, you know, to get her hair done. He was putting her in the car. Just last night he was getting in a fight. He had bruises all over his face.
He did. He broke his nose.
And he was at the beauty shop. Ray had an interesting interaction with Sully's mom.
Yeah.
She was a mean old thing.
She was very blunt, to say the least. And Ray called her a treasure.
He did call her a treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a little grouchy little something. So, you know, he figured out who it was, and he pretty much went to the whole family. Flash forward, he finally meets Sully at the church, just like we were saying, at the church or his house or whatever this location was. And Sully, again, you have to wonder, as Sully, you're his dad. That's your father. Why are you here with me? Why do you want me to kill your father? Ray said, I wrote down the quote. He said, I want the last person that he sees to hate him more than I do. That's serious. Like, to hear someone say that about their own dad, you know, that's serious. Ray even gave him a proposition. He said, I'll send you anywhere that you want. I was kind of hoping, though, to keep it funny when he said, I can send you to Dubai or these places. I was
Vietnam.
hoping the guy would have been like, no, I really want to go to Jersey. Like, somewhere real. Like, I was hoping he would have said something like, something real simple, like, no, Chicago sounds real exclusive. Yeah.
Well, they were talking about countries that don't extradite.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to relocate him, pretty much, to one of those countries.
But, you know, Sully's he's considering it. Then they dropped the tidbit. What did you guys think when they dropped the whole bit about Colleen? Colleen is Ray's
ex-girlfriend, or rather someone that he was messing around with when he was still with his wife, Abby, but they weren't together yet as husband and wife, right? Is that what, I think that's what they were talking about.
They were dating. Abby's dad couldn't stand the fact that she was dating a Donovan, so they broke up. And then he started dating Colleen.
And Mickey killed Colleen.
That's
what it seems
that
like.
is out of left field. What the hell is the connection there? Why? What's the reason? What kind of motivation did Mickey have to do this? Then again, that guy is really all over the place. Like, I really don't know his train of thought sometimes.
Right. And when he was, and this is going to be a little bit all over the place, just letting you know now. But when Mickey stood up at Sean Walker's movie premiere and he was saying, I have an idea for a movie. How about a family man gets set up? For a minute I was like, oh my gosh, was he like a lovely family man before all of this? And he just went to prison and got to be bad. But yeah, then I remembered it was like, oh right, he had his drugs and everything. But to kill his son's girlfriend?
And to be walking, he didn't go to prison for that. He didn't go to jail for this. He went to jail for something totally different. So he killed Colleen and is just walking around like do.
Wait,
am I gonna kill that?
What if Colleen actually is this girl that they're talking about, who he was framed for killing, but he never did kill her? No, that wouldn't make sense then, because then Ray wouldn't really hate him for that reason.
But it was somebody else's girlfriend that he was framed for killing. Sean Walker's girlfriend?
Yeah. So there are two women who supposedly got killed. Sean killed one. We don't know who she is. And now Mickey killed Colleen. But, again, how? And you just killed her. Everybody knows you killed Colleen and nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
No one knew. Everybody knew except for us, the audience.
Right.
Abby knew. And she's like, yeah, he killed Colleen. Like, it was like, you know, like, yeah, he slept with so-and-so's wife. Like, it's not, you know, it's not that
it was just
carefree.
Like, it was like easily like gossiped about. It's like, what? It should be a revelation, but they must have known for such a long time.
Well, Ray, you know, when they brought up Colleen, Sully told him to pay his respects. He said, to the dead girl, that was your girlfriend. And Ray was just like, okay, you know. Whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But
don't tell me.
Hopefully they touch on this again, because I think I'm more taken aback by the fact that everybody knew that Mickey killed Colleen, but they were so set to frame him for killing some other woman.
Right.
Just tell them about the Colleen thing.
Right. Well, I think in framing him for this other woman, it was ultimately to save Sean, who was their client, so they're going to be paid for that. It wasn't so much about putting Mickey away. I mean, partially it was, but it was also they're getting paid by Sean.
Yeah.
You gotta pay them bills,
I
you
know.
know?
Well, like I said, hopefully we'll touch on that.
Well, before we move on from this Boston trip, because I feel like we're about to.
Yeah.
There's also, his friend Gary visited.
Oh, that's
in
right.
the hotel room, and
He was wearing a fat suit.
he was wearing a fat suit of fat.
Made of adipose tissue.
Yeah.
And Ray asked if his wife knows about Bridget, meaning his sister who had committed suicide. And Gary seemed very shut off about it, and he did not want to go there. He did not want to talk about it.
He didn't want to. He was like, hey, man, I'll shoot the wind with you about anything, about sports, about something else, but I can't talk about that thing in the past.
Yeah.
Which was so weird. It's like, what did he think that Ray wanted to ask him about?
Well, there's obviously something that Gary knows that Ray, he's afraid of Ray finding out. And the fact that Ray even asked and said, did Bridget ever tell you about the kind of father that Mickey was, or did she ever say anything to you about that? That says that he's looking for something specific, and Gary knows it. Because if you didn't, if there was something that you don't know, you really don't know, you'd be like, I don't know, what happened? You'd be like, what happened? Is there something that I missed? But the fact that he shut it down so quickly, there's something.
Yeah.
And they both know, but they just aren't going to talk about it.
So I feel like what we learned from Gary and Ray's conversation is Gary used to hang out with, are they cousins? Are Gary and Ray cousins?
It seems like, it seems like
Friends.
he's just friends.
They're
He was
friends, yeah.
Bridget's boyfriend or
Yeah, so they would
Something.
always get high, do drugs together, and that's what we know about him and his association with Bridget. But we also, just that, their conversation, it alludes to maybe Mickey may have been abusing Bridget too in some
Right.
weird way. We already know that he's like a sexual tyrannosaurus,
Yeah.
Right. And we've touched on that before. I think we've discussed that
Yeah.
before. But-
About that being a possibility.
and this seems to be supporting that theory.
So again, that's another loose end. Hopefully they tie that up soon.
Yeah.
So Mickey he's continuing on his tyrant tour. He's terrorizing everyone who was involved in his demise, it seems like. Now he makes his way to Sean's. It wasn't a movie premiere. It was one of those evenings at the movies where they watch old movies of someone and they come out and discuss, what they were thinking or why they filmed the movie. It was one of those fun events.
No Q&A with the fans of the old
Oh,
movie.
okay.
But real quick, that had to be the cheesiest movie I've ever.
When we were watching it, I was even like, that is something out of early 90s, cheesy, and you, Anna, you said straight to video, right?
Yeah.
It was straight to
Yeah.
video.
And I was like, these days it would be straight to Redbox. So that's just.
But it wasn't these days. It was those days.
It was those
yeah.
days. Just a really cheesy. You said Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, it was
right?
very Jean-Claude, very Universal Soldiers. It was
I feel like we can't hate on the movie too much though, because what are the writers are supposed to also write a movie
That's
within
true.
a TV show? I mean,
That's true. They were busy.
They were busy.
They were busy.
They had other things to be concerned about.
It was just such a long shot, that a long cut that he was walking down the aisle after he blasted that guy in the confessional booth. It was just so behind him for 1 minute, literally.
He ripped his collar off. It was hilarious.
You didn't like that line?
What did he
Was
say?
it-
God bless you
no.
or something?
Amen, fucker. Amen.
Motherfucker.
Amen, motherfucker.
Amen, motherfucker.
I was like, oh. I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
And then he went on a killing. Yeah, that's great.
So during that, Mickey was being the loud guy in the theater, yeah, and just being annoying. Sean comes out, everybody's clapping and cheering. He's the biggest movie star in the world. They keep saying. Mickey stands up during Q&A, snatches the microphone from some fan, some poor random fan.
He didn't even get to ask his question.
No, he just rips the mic out of his hand and pitches a plot to Sean that is pretty much him and Sean's story. And poor Sean, he just. Ray said before, he said, "You're not a character in one of your movies." So Sean was just it seemed like he was totally out of his element. And if a tyrant was at, something that we were at, I'm sure we'd be out of our element too. But he's just I don't know. Sean, considering what happened and after the fact he met with Mickey and now it wants to buy the movie story, I don't, that's weird.
Well, I understand where Sean is coming from. First of all, he just fired Ray, so he's like, I'm gonna handle this on my own. Second of all, what he said to Mickey was pretty smart. Now, Mickey's a snake, and he's not going to, I mean, he's just gonna play every angle for himself, and he's in it for himself, so, I mean, he feels like he doesn't owe Sean anything, but what Sean said was, if I buy this movie from you, then I own the exclusive rights, and you cannot talk to anybody else about it, which is actually a smart thing.
But
right.
Mickey, there's no way that Mickey is gonna follow through with a contract like that. And we already know he's a loudmouth. He goes around to everybody saying everything that's on his mind.
And I totally agree. And I mean, also, what are you gonna do? You're gonna like take him to court and sue him? Like, actually, no, it was me who killed her, and he is
He's talking.
telling people this other story, and he signed this thing saying he wouldn't, and so that's how I know he's lying. He could never do that, but I understand in theory, it's a smart idea, but it just doesn't work out in real life.
So, well, you know, he also asked Mickey, he also said to Mickey, I'm sure you have tons of other stories too. So while Sean was playing like the strategic role, like he was, you know, strategizing, trying to get exclusive rights to what really happened, he turns around and basically asks Mickey for other ideas. Cut the cord, Sean. What's wrong with you? Like, I was like, what's wrong with him?
Yeah.
Like, just let him go. Take the movie, take the rights, and beat it.
It feels to me like Mickey is really diversifying his income here, because he's got money coming in from Van Miller. He's got, well, which may be cutting off pretty soon, but he's got even more money potentially coming from Sean Walker, the biggest movie star of the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the biggest movie star of the 90s, it's funny. Yes, and there's like a little bit of disloyalty that's shown. Again, that's why I said Mickey's a snake, that when Van Miller said, I need more than this, you know, you need to get him to confess, and he's like, how am I supposed to get so close to Sean Walker? How am I supposed to get close to a guy like that?
We were just at lunch. Like, come on.
Yeah.
We were at the Grove. That's what it looked like. Yeah,
He wants more ideas from you, so.
That's weird. But real quick, on a weirder note with Sean, when he snuck out of the theater when he first saw Mickey and went back into like the green room type of setting, he sniffed the baby again.
He loves sniffing his baby's head.
That guy.
We got all kinds of quirky characters on this show, and like Sean, he's got something with smell my baby, smell it to make it real. That's what youth and innocence smells like.
Yeah, it seems like they were trying to play up the Hollywood stereotype about like actors and like how people are kind of weird and have their little rituals and ways.
Or naming their babies Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was weird. He sniffed I was like, why is he sniffing the baby? Before he had everybody else sniffing the baby. Whatever. He's whatever.
He's a wacko.
Yeah. Whatever.
He thinks that he's winning by giving Mickey this deal, but he's really losing. Mickey's just extracting money from him. That's all he's doing. And who knows what he's going to really do. He probably has another deviant thing up his sleeve. Like, after he gets the rights, he's going to do something. Or maybe he's just going to go to his house and, like, throw a brick through the window and, you know, get in and terrorize him. Who knows?
I wouldn't be surprised. It's Mickey, you know. We'll see. Guys, real quick, keep supporting us on iTunes. We want to thank everybody for, you know, clicking on, leaving a comment, rating, but please continue to do that, guys. We always say if you know, have something you want to, you know, chime in about the show, just leave a comment. We check it all the time, but we really do appreciate everything you've been doing. Keep us at the top of the download list, and just continue to support us. Click on AfterBuzz TV after shows, Ray Donovan. Subscribe, rate, comment 5 stars. Also, there are other after shows on there too. We have wrestling, we have reality shows, we have dramas. Every show you can think of. If it's an awesome show, I'm sure we do an after show for it. So guys, just keep on doing what you're doing.
And they could also, while they're on the iTunes store, they should type into the search bar Adventures of Serial Buddies, or, you know, just Serial Buddies, and what comes up is this awesome film, independently directed and written by Kevin Undergaro. Maria Menounos produced it, and she's actually starring in it too. We got Christopher Lloyd, Christopher McDonald, Artie Lang, Kathy Lee Gifford, a bunch of other awesome actors that are in it, make cameos, and it's seriously Dumb and Dumber meets Dexter mixed together in this awesome, funny independent film, and all for the price of like less than a Happy Meal, seriously. So download it and enjoy it, and it helps us keep the lights on here at AfterBuzz TV.
Now, the last few episodes, we've been seeing this budding relationship between Bridget and Marvin Gaye Washington. You know, he lives in the neighborhood. He pretty much has no guidance. Recon is his dad, and I, do the quote fingers because he's supposedly his dad, but he's not around either. So Marvin Gaye is just pretty much on his own, and Bridget is too because her parents are, just wherever doing whatever.
Mom's getting drunk and shopping and shoplifting, and we got the dad going to Boston and getting beat up by people.
So, today it starts with Marvin finds out that his mom was killed. He didn't know at all. He comes over. He came in the house, pissed off at Ray, rightfully so, but he came in, with a gun.
Not cool for Ray.
Not cool. Ray had to kick him out. So, of course, Bridget, being that that's her, like, her new boyfriend or her boo or whatever, she, gets defensive and wants to, stick up for Marvin Gaye Washington. Okay, I get it. But that pretty much turned her on her parents, on Ray, and now it just threw her into the arms of little Marvin Gaye Washington.
Or into the lap.
Yes.
All right, before we go there, I would like to say that also Abby totally flipped a switch and went over there, and suddenly she's like tears in her eyes and she's like, I'm so sorry to hear about your mom, and if you ever need to talk, I'm here for you. I hate
Abby.
that. I hate that. I hate that.
She does that too easily.
Well, yeah, she does that too easily, and she's hated him the whole time. She's not wanted him around the whole time. She thinks he's horrible for her daughter the whole time. Why suddenly? I mean, just because his mom died, and I'm not saying that that's not horrible. It is horrible, but he is a little boy and has been, and you should not have been treating him like garbage this whole time. Anyway.
No,
I just had to get that out. So.
No, that's a good point. And then she also asked Marvin Gaye Washington. Now, keep in mind during the scene,
I love that you call him that
I gotta
every time.
call him his full name. It's so ridiculous.
It's ridiculously funny.
Marvin Gaye Washington. I have to say it the entire time. She even tries to get information out of Marvin Gaye Washington, which goes back to the point. Abby really doesn't know anything.
No.
I'm so convinced that Abby is just here. She's just...
She was a content housewife before the
living.
season started.
And Marvin Gaye Washington, I have to say the full name. That's not as you pointed it out. He gets mad about it, and I get it. He's a teenager. He's going through a bunch of emotions, and shuts the door on Abby.
Yeah, good.
Right, good. So throughout the day, Marvin Gaye Washington is celebrating his first birthday because Recon wanted to make him feel better. He didn't have any kind words to say. He didn't have any, a hug or anything, but to make him feel better, he made him hit the blunt. And then
and bought him a cake. That sounds awesome. What are you talking
with
about?
one on it.
Yeah.
A very elegant cake, too.
It was elegant.
I liked it. That thing probably cost a pretty penny for Recon.
Yeah, it did.
For a cake, at least.
But, that was that. So Bridget was spending a lot of time with Marvin. They, recorded a song. Bridget is she's an artist too. Earlier we saw her playing the guitar. So she's talented. She had a nice little singing voice. So I get that she's, drawn to Marvin. He's like this bad boy. She's like this naive little girl. I totally get it.
I wanted to mention this episode. We saw a lack of humor coming from Marvin Gaye Washington. He was very somber. Obviously, his mom died, but it was just so weird, such a tone change for him. Instead of joking around, and we didn't really see him doing anything other than drinking this time. He wasn't really hitting the blunt too much.
Yeah, no. But they went upstairs to the bedroom.
Naughty.
Now, the whole time, I don't know what you guys were thinking, and I was kind of saying it out loud because I couldn't help myself. The whole time I was like, Bridget, go home. Take your butt home. It's so sad to see a misguided girl, get wrapped up in the arms of this, this devious little guy, and then to see what happened after that. So, you know, they were getting intimate. Bridget got a little, you know, adult-like and started unzipping Marvin's pants like, you know, like it was about to go down.
And this is probably the first boy that she's ever been with.
Oh, no doubt.
Where she learned these moves, whatever. But she, you know, she was young, so she wanted to stop. But Marvin got a little aggressive like that. And you guys, did you catch what he said? He said something like,
that your dad, you know, your dad bought me and it's his fault that she's dead or whatever. So.
Yeah, like my mom's dead now, so make me feel better kind of thing, which is awful.
Yeah. And by the way, just in case this wasn't obvious to anybody, if you want a girl to go down, you probably shouldn't bring up her dad. That's probably the last person you should be bringing up.
Or your dead mom. Like, you know,
or your dead mom, yeah. Those are both mood killers.
He doesn't have a romantic bone in his body. He's just like, come here.
Yeah.
Get in bed.
Let me rape your face.
Yeah.
Which he pretty much did. He pretty much forced her. That's rape.
Yeah, that's forcible rape, guys. It really is.
So she got out of there before, you know, it got a little carried away. But I was worried. You know, I was really worried, like, oh, you know, this is going to be beyond awful. It was still awful, but Bridget gets away.
Yeah.
But when they get back home, she totally is like forgiving him, which is awful. And she's making him to be the victim now, which is like the thing that so many rape victims do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, women often blame themselves for choices that they made and everything up to that point they were saying yes to. And but the thing that I think was so upsetting or shocking about that scene is when Ray went over to go confront Marvin Gaye Washington, and Bridget was yelling after him. You know, it's your fault. You don't help people. You hurt people. So. And
because you lie.
Because you lie, yeah. And so I thought that was. I don't know. There's just so many things going on in those few words.
Yeah.
She's using Ray as a scapegoat. And sure, like, things are trickling down because people are learning about his work life now. But that doesn't mean he has to be the reason for everything to be wrong. He's tried to keep it all separate as much as possible. And just because they're finding out, they're making him that, oh, you did this to us.
Yeah. And you know what? I was a little disappointed with Abby in that situation. Because, yes, your daughter, you know, it's a bad situation and this happened. And, you know, Abby is a little in the dark about Ray as well. But I wanted her to kind of step in and say, listen, Bridget, he almost raped you. So I get that you're upset. I get that that's your little boyfriend or whatever. But when it comes to this situation and your emotions, you need to separate the two. Like, I wanted her to, instead of just standing there, you know, and just telling her to get away from the window, I kind of wanted her to be like, Bridget, like, you almost got it.
I disagree. I think that that's a conversation to have in the morning. I think that night is just let her have her feelings and whatever, and it's mom's job to kind of hold her and let her cry or scream or whatever. And
console her.
Yeah, to console her. Yeah, and that sort of like, yes, absolutely, that's a conversation that needs to be had, but I think that's for tomorrow, you know?
Mm-hmm. So Ray goes over there and gets Marvin. Where is he taking him? Who knows? But was Marvin, I saw, like, it was the shadow was faded. Did he have like a black eye or something? It looked like did he have like blood on his face or?
I didn't see that. You know what? I think that was just the lights, the ambient light from outside the car reflecting off of his skin.
Okay. So that's a mystery. Maybe in predictions we can get to where we think he's going. We saw a little glimmer of it in the previews,
in the
but
teaser, yeah.
You know, it's still a little shaded. On a lighter note, though, Abby has a girls' night.
Girls' day.
She has a girls' day.
Day drinking.
With Deb, Ezra's girlfriend. And they're at a restaurant, you know, having a great time. Deb is holding a new dog.
Named Ruth.
It's a boy.
Poor Deb.
They made such a great joke about they're so drunk that it was even funnier to them that Ruth has a big dick.
Yeah. Ruth is a boy.
Yeah.
The little chihuahua.
And, you know, they were just talking about their relationships with, you know, Ray and Ezra. And Deb said something interesting to Abby. She said, when Abby said she's not happy, Deb said, I haven't been happy for 20 years. That's just how it is.
Well, she said lonely.
Oh, lonely. I've been
that's
lonely for 20 years. And then,
She's always there. We talked about this last time. She's always there. She's always supporting Ezra. But all Ezra does is think about two things: his dead wife Ruth and Ray.
yeah. So they continue to drink. They're shopping, having a good time. And I guess Abby was channeling her old her old Boston days where she was, stealing stuff, but walks off with a pair of Louboutins. Like, just
Like that, yeah. Like you're gonna run in those.
yeah.
Did she say, "Oh, we used to do this in Mexicali all the time"? I thought I heard her say that.
No, I used to do this as a teenager all the
Oh,
time.
Yeah,
as
she
a
said teenager.
teenager.
Yeah.
Close though.
Okay.
Yeah, poor Deb slips and peed her pants. It was a funny scene. It was a good lighthearted scene.
But yeah, I mean, peeing your pants
Yeah,
is always a great lighthearted moment.
She peed her pants.
Yeah, old ladies peeing their pants.
Yeah.
The security guard, he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna let them settle down a little bit."
They're not going anywhere.
Then Ray had to bail Abby out. To me, that was the funniest part of the whole thing, because he was outside, and when he was on the phone, I was like, "Wait, what's happening?" Abby comes out still with the shoes on.
Yeah.
She didn't even give the shoes back. Like,
Well, they couldn't take the shoes back. She's already been running outside with them, so they're going to be scuffed at the bottom. So
True.
they're not going to. So
She
they would
has,
probably
yeah.
be like, "You're buying them now." So and I think it's great. Not that Ray has any room to correct her or be mad at her for anything, but he didn't say a word about it. All he said was, "These shoes are going to cost me $6,000."
yeah.
She was like, "Good."
I'm sure he can afford it with the kind of
I'm
money he
sure,
makes
yeah.
from extorting all the celebrities and whatever.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
pocket change. He just flipped his friend $500 like it was nothing.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
take him
yeah.
to Fenway. It's
He did. He's good for the money.
yeah.
All right, guys. So let's get into some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Well, up in the Twitter sphere, I was checking out the @show_Ray Donovan Twitter account, and they just tweeted hashtag Ray Donovan's @Kate Monings, who plays Lena on the show, answers questions from fans. Watch, and they have a YouTube link up there. So if you guys want to check that out, check out their Twitter account, and you can see that link of her talking about her character on the show. Additionally, we had Karis Dorsey, who plays Bridget. She tweeted from her account @KarisDorsey. Let's see. Oh, listening to the She and Him Christmas album in August. You can judge me, but first have a listen and tell me it doesn't make your heart sore.
Aw.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah.
My wife has been listening to She and Him a lot, so it's ringing throughout my apartment all the time. Thankfully, it's not the Christmas album, because I would tell her to turn that off then. But I think that's all I got for my tweets and news and gossip.
All right, guys. Let's get into some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I'm predicting that this Sully situation isn't going to end well. I just don't see it being as smooth as Sully getting on a plane to Los Angeles, coming, killing Mickey, and then living his wonderful life. I just, it just because for the sake of keeping the show going, and given the fact that it's been this hard for them to try to pin anything on Mickey, I think that's going to be a problem. I think that's going to create a new issue. Not sure what, but we'll see.
Well, I predict a music career for Bridget. I think they maybe recorded something today just for fun, and Recon's gonna hear it, and he's gonna be like, "I need that voice.
That's true.
Kill her mom." Just kidding. Not that part. Not that part. But
Ray, can I buy your kid?
Right.
But then I also think that Daryl, welcome back, Daryl. Haven't seen him in a couple of weeks, so I was wondering what happened to him.
Yeah, Pooch Hall.
Yeah. So I think that Daryl is going to try to exact some sort of revenge and be on Ray's side from here on out.
I feel like Ray is gonna beat up Marvin just a little bit. Not beat up his vocal cords, that's for sure. They need those. He needs those. But I feel like he's gonna leave him in his old neighborhood. and
Ooh.
yeah, just like put him back where he came from
Sprinkle
and
some dollars on him.
sprinkle some dollars on him. Yeah, and they kind of showed that. I wrote this down before the teaser, but it kind of looked like Marvin Gaye Washington was in a different house in his old neighborhood. So
Well,
we'll see.
yeah, good for him.
All right.
All right, guys. So, once again, come join us next week, same time, same place, for the AfterBuzz TV After Show for Ray Donovan. You can find me online, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Kennelia. Where can they find you guys?
You can follow me at Koppel for Mayor, KOPPELFOR MAYOR.
And you guys can find me, give me a follow at Sean Austin O on Twitter and Instagram.
All right, guys. See you next time.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.